What's good, people? We are the Blasian Circle, 3 married couples made up of 6 friends who share in the experience of being in Black and South Asian interracial marriages.
It's a circle of unity and trust where we share our thoughts and lived experiences. Come join our circle.
Fancy boy. All right, fancy boy, innit? So this is about Sam today. Look at this beautiful beard. Can't cover that up.
Hello guys, hello and welcome back. So we're here with another Blasian Circle, and
Name
so
change, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
you can see somebody's not keen, but moving swiftly on.
Gang.
So what are we talking about today, guys?
I heard we're talking about cultural differences.
Spot, you did your homework.
I
Spot
did
on.
indeed,
Well
you know.
done. Well done. Well done.
Star-
At least you're
star
reading my
pupil.
WhatsApp messages. This is wonderful.
Of course.
Excellent.
That's
Good.
Of course.
Yeah. Lovely. Right. So, yeah, let's do this. Let's talk.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Get straight into it.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. All right. So, you know what? Funny enough,
Yeah.
before we get in, just to kind of set a bit of a context.
Are you
or
putting a
set
spanner in my
scene.
works?
Yeah, I'm going to put a spanner in your works. I know
Alright.
you've set up things for the episode, but there's a particular question I want us all to answer.
Okay.
Right. So what do we actually how do we actually identify ourselves in terms of like culturally? Like how, I'm interested to actually really know that. And I'm happy to go first. It'll make it nice, quick and easy. I am a Ghanaian Breton.
Come on, brother.
I am from Ghana, but I was born in Britain.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I don't consider myself as English.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's quite
yeah.
weird. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what? Because you're such a football fan, I actually thought you would consider yourself as English.
Oh, no. It's impossible for any of us to be English.
Okay.
We're not indigenous.
British is
to this-
separate from English.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's our citizenship.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
It's interesting because David Lammy,
Yeah.
he sees it as that you can be English.
No, fam.
So it's really interesting. So when people say
He's
it's like,
a politician, isn't it?
yeah, that's also very true. That's also very true.
What you guys
yeah, so I consider myself African via Caribbean British. So I'm a Caribbean British if I had to tick a box on a piece of paper. But I understand. So my mum's Jamaican, my dad's from Barbados. So I have a mixed Caribbean heritage, but my roots are African. So if I was to tick a box on a piece of paper, I'm a Black Caribbean. Or British Caribbean, but I see myself as African inherently. Yeah,
Come on.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Come on,
that's how I
Pan-Africanism,
identify. Yeah, so I try to celebrate all cultures related to Caribbean and African culture. Yeah,
Cold. Lady, Lady, my wife.
I would consider myself as first Pakistani.
Okay.
That is my root. I was brought up in England, so yeah, I would still class myself as British, but not English. I enjoyed cups of teas, but that didn't. That actually got stolen.
Yeah.
The England actually stole that along with all
That's
their
right.
textiles
Exactly.
from
We're
India.
getting bare
Not to
political
make it
already.
too political,
But
but
it's true. It's
No,
not political.
correction, it came from Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tea. So if you look at
sorry.
tea, it all comes from Ceylon, which
Okay.
is the old name for Sri Lanka.
That's
I
true.
didn't know
Really?
that.
So Anna, go on. How do you identify yourself?
So just to throw a spanner in the works, I would say
gosh, there's loads of spanners.
loads
on.
of spanners. Here's another.
That's
I would say I first identify as British
Oh, okay.
because I was born and raised here. That's all
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I would say after that, so my family are predominantly Sri Lankan. I've got a little bit of Portuguese as well, which just means I'm sort of fairer skinned than most
Sri Lankan.
Sri Lankan Tamils that you'd meet.
Okay.
So I'd say those come second, but actually I'd say that like being in a mixed environment is where I most feel comfortable.
I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I was so busy with the audio, I didn't even think. But to this question, I'd say that's what I always say. Like I would say my relationship with Britain / England is complicated.
Okay.
That's usually what I say.
Yeah.
I'd say somehow I feel very comfortable saying that I'm from London.
Yeah.
Very comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Very comfortable with that.
Interesting.
And I say like, plunk me anywhere in London, I'll figure it out. It's all good. I know this place.
Interesting.
But what I would say is that I'm Nigerian British. I have lots of love for England. I've got lots of love for Britain.
He's trying to keep that passport.
Don't come for me, man.
Mate, with the way that things are going.
Yeah, but I mean, how I say it's like there are lots of things that the British Empire, England, there are lots of things that are horrific. There are lots of things that are, dare I say, shameful. But there are lots of things that are dope, and there are lots of things that are brilliant. Like with anything, right? With any country, like with any family, like there are lots of things that aren't great, but there are lots of things that are great.
Yeah.
And I think when I think about it, like it's important that I'm able to marry the two. That's important to me. But yeah, man. Nigerian British. Don't really think about the order. I'm gonna shut up. Yeah, thank you. But I'm from London, so.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think for me, I think it's changed. I think when I was younger, I don't know why I didn't really enjoy being Pakistani that much. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. There was just some kind of like disconnect, maybe, or you kind of really felt like you were other, and so therefore you kind of just wanted to kind of mix in, really. Yeah. So I think, but now, I'm Pakistani first. That's it. That's my heritage. That's where I come from, and I'm British. And I'm proud of both of those things. I think like Dapo there, that it's a very it's complicated, 100%. Right? That's what it is. It's a complicated situation because you unlike this country is given a lot, and I say that, and it's kind of like just kind of rolls off your tongue, but then you think
it's taken a lot as well.
And actually it's taken a lot from places that we have come from and actually could have stayed in.
So it's a bit of Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh my gosh. I've been thinking about it for the last few days. I'm like, being from this country is actually Stockholm Syndrome.
It is, you love your cat.
Exactly. It's like, so I love you, but you actually kidnapped me.
So that's really funny because you said something, you gave an analogy which is really interesting. It's like someone that kidnaps you and you fall in love with the kidnapper.
That's what Stockholm Syndrome.
Stockholm Syndrome.
So it's complicated, but I love both, and just like DJ said, it's a mix of like every relationship has its kind of pros and cons, and so but
over to you.
Finally, right. The main bulk. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about cultural differences, and obviously, as we've kind of alluded to, and we've spoken a lot about, we're all from very different cultures, and even actually, Riz and me being from a very similar culture, actually our experiences are very different because of maybe we've been brought up and the way that our parents have brought us up and things like that. So what I really wanted to talk about today was obviously we've got two cultures coming together. What did you guys find in terms of the cultural differences? So when you kind of got together, what was the stark thing of oh my god, this is actually different? Sam, I can see you smiling. I'm
gonna give everyone a chance because I think that this is a hot topic.
It is a hot topic.
So
who's gonna go first?
Yeah, Sai, because obviously Sai's ready to jump in.
I actually am not, but since you put me on the spot, I think one of the first things I can think about quite quickly and quite easily is how you relate to family, in the sense that
this is a massive one.
Yeah, of course it's massive. Yeah, sorry, I had to go there quite quickly. Yeah, and just your placing in terms of or how the other person's partner is received in terms of family. So in terms of Riz's family, I am non-existent and have pretty much always been non-existent. Which is obviously quite awkward, considering I'm her husband now. But if I was a Pakistani boy, I would actually still be non-existent up until it's time for me to marry her.
I'm so glad you recognise that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So that was weird for me when Riz became a part of my family before she was even.
Right.
Me and her were even an item. To some extent, that's kind of because of the way my mum is as well. She's quite really just a very, very warming person, very accepting of people as well. But yeah, in fact, in many ways, that was one of the things that warmed me to Riz because of her ability to relate to
your mom,
to my family.
Yeah.
So not even just even like quite quickly, my extended family got to know her as well, and etc. And that's not even like a matter of, you know, I may sound to someone like, oh, I was inner and just let me bring any girl around now, because quite quickly Riz was not any girl. She was someone of importance and value to me and to my family. So that was something that was weird for me, because I am, to this day, I'm not really a part of her family. And that is a cultural difference and difficulty in itself, because it's like sometimes it'll be like, well, I can't just rock up to your house, innit? I can't. So like I'm trying to even think of the circumstances that was often used in, but it'll be a space of uncomfortability, because I would think to myself, oh, you know, you're a part of my family, so you have a say and input, like you're valued in my family, so you know, even things like, to be fair, even to this day, sorry if I'm going off in a tangent. So I'm not necessarily something that's spoken about on the phone. So if Riz's family phone her or something along those lines, or her mum particularly. So fortunately, Riz still has a relationship with her family. But if they phone her, like my mum would ask, "Oh, how's Riz? How's she doing? Is she?" Riz, again, I'm non-existent, so it's like there's no house what food has he made you, or I'm not, she's not going to talk about me as though like I'm a part of. So that's a cultural difference, and that's not probably that's been throughout. So it's not even an early dating thing.
Well, I was about to say, it's not so much a cultural difference in that in this space as marriage, because that's unique to the situation
of course,
we're going through. But prior to marriage, absolutely, there's a big cultural difference.
You can't just take a boy home until
he's ready.
And by the way, you go from 0 to 100. They don't exist. Why isn't he here?
To be fair, I think I've kind of we witnessed that in your guys' experience, because it was like, this guy's not, and then all of a sudden,
he's making tea for everybody. Exactly.
That was a surreal moment. That was so surreal. That was so surreal. So Anna, what about for you? What have been the cultural differences for you?
So I think I would say style of communication. So I'm Asian, Desi. There's even a bit of a Latin going on there. So we are very hot-headed people. And we can get into a fist fight over what we're going to have for dinner. So everything is very emotionally charged.
100%.
And, you know, things can escalate really quickly. But that's it's just regular stuff, like just day to day, you know, so you don't come to my house. Oh, basically because you don't love me. Okay, come on. Then why don't you just go somewhere? You know, we can really quickly go for that. DJ and I we feel this is a cultural difference. When they get into conflict, when DJ gets into he goes a lot more formal. And I think that's something that between us, like he's someone who you're someone who if I've done something to upset him, he'll formulate the argument. And he'll say, this is what happened, this is how you upset me, this is what I want to do about it, and blah, 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 and we have that conversation. Whereas for me, I'm like, oh, you left the tea back here, so what? So I'm just a joke to you, am I? You know, we're that, so I would say that's a big difference.
Is that a cultural thing though, or do you think it's more so a
family upbringing?
Not even that, male and female thing sometimes.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point.
Because from thinking about the males I know from the Asian culture, I would say it is a cultural difference. That felt very neat to me.
I think just on that topic, I noticed that we've got a thing called reasoning. And I tried to explain a reasoning to Zakia.
How's that spelled, sorry?
I did not know this one.
And Zakia just couldn't get the concept that for her, if you've got a difference of opinion or position, it's an argument, there's separation. Whereas with a reasoning, we can both strongly believe our views and say them quite passionately. That to an outsider who doesn't understand, it may look like an argument, but really, we feel very strongly about what we're talking about, and we're just reasoning it out. That once the issue's done, and we move forward.
That sounds way too logical
for Zakia. Like a disagreement means separation in life, and like you've done, and it was like like for me that was a cultural difference because we in my culture, especially my family, a disagreement doesn't mean a lack of love or care.
Yeah.
Whereas with Zach, a disagreement is you don't love me anymore.
Yeah.
And it was like, wait, hold on, how do we
jump that quickly?
Where's love coming into this? What's love got to do with it?
Yeah.
I'm upset that you left me at the bus stop.
Yo.
Like just small things.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And situations from
Zero.
from an emotional narrative will go from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And I get lost at 5, like at 0.5, and and it's like, wait, hold on. I thought we were just talking about this.
It's
and now we're not talking about this. This is an argument about something I don't even understand. Like, and that was something, especially in the early years.
On that point, I think there's another part to this as well, which is I think that in Asian culture, divorce and separation is still quite taboo, and it's still quite uncommon. It's becoming more common, sadly, but it is more. It's not as common. So you have the safety within the relationship to do this sort of nonsense.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
But
That's
where
very
in other
interesting.
communities and speaking openly in African and Caribbean communities as well, where divorce and separation is a lot more common. Actually, when someone's like, "Oh, you don't love me," that can I think that can also mean something a bit more serious.
It is more serious.
Like my parents,
it is more serious. What? You don't love me? What?
No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So where are we going for dinner? In an hour. That's exactly what's happening. Yeah. Sorry, anyway, I interrupted you.
Riz, what about you? What do you think were the cultural differences that you experienced?
Talking to the mic, please. Talking to the mic.
Yeah. So something I've just started thinking about from hearing your guys' discussion. We actually did speak about it on our walk quite recently, a couple of days ago. But now, as I'm kind of thinking about it a bit more, I think the biggest cultural difference for me, I came from a very traditional Pakistani home, is the way men and women are very separated. I didn't tend to have a lot of male friends. Even when I went to university, it wasn't as many, because I grew up, I didn't go up again, even in the mosque, women and men will pray separately. At weddings, most of them will be separated. You would never, only until my generation, when my sisters got married, it would be mixed. But the generations before is always separation.
This makes
so
sense.
I think I would say, and I generally, the way my upbringing was, I generally connect more. I generally would have friends with females more than men. To be a friend with a man, I would need some strong connection that I could feel safe, and that there's some common interest. So I have some good friends with your friends who I would be happy to call and text because I feel really comfortable with
but
them.
not many, to be fair.
But not many, very few. It's more females I feel more, I can connect with them more. Having said that, when I came into the relationship with you, oh my gosh, it was the cause of many contentions and arguments. And it wasn't because you were doing anything untoward. But you're very nice. You're a really nice guy. It would be. It wasn't. But you had so many female friends.
Same.
And they'd be like,
same.
And I'm not going to be too open because I need to protect us, but. There were so many, it made me feel some type of way. But now, I know we were discussing recently, we were talking about, would you think it's okay for you to go to, or me to go with a dinner or lunch or whatever with an opposite sex? And we say, I think it's good to let each other be. But that's years after where we think it's the way to go about it is be transparent, let each other know, and then it's fine.
Funny enough, I'm more reluctant now, innit? Like, I'm more like, nah, I won't go out to eat with my
but you're just
female
eating,
friend as much.
But
See,
back then for years,
12 years,
it was a big issue. It was a big issue. It always came from, but women and men can't just be friends. There must be an agenda. Why? And it was many. That was the biggest, and that went over for a span of years.
Do you know what's actually even quickly jokes? Like, it's to the extent that Riz started to hate. Hate the word platonic. She hated the word platonic.
They need to remove that from the dictionary.
DJ, what about you?
Oh man, Oh, there's so much in what you guys said as well, especially the whole point around like divorce and things like that. I think that's a lot to do with like also the insular community in your communities protects certain things. So even if you, I'm out of here, like one auntie's gone down the road is going to make sure you're not going anywhere. Whereas we don't necessarily have that in other cultures.
Yeah.
But going back to us, cultural differences. Actually, kind of going back to what you guys said, I think there is, this whole idea of like you don't exist until you're engaged, really. To me, it was really frustrating because again, I'm from East London. I have lots of Asian friends. I've walked down the street with like female friends, and then they're like DJ, and I know that's the code. Step back like 5 yards because there's an auntie in sight. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, and so it's like
too close.
But because we're grown, and also like I take our relationship seriously. That was definitely a point of struggle. But because, and I guess what maybe was different for me, it was kind of like, especially with all the difficulties as well. It's like, hold on, am I a secret? Does she have like some other guy that she's talking to? Is there like a separate family somewhere in flipping Woodford that like I don't know about? You know what I mean? Like, is there? Yeah, and so there's. And the family, also, relationship with family as well is a big one. So that was probably one that was quite difficult, I would say, in our dating phase. And obviously I trust her. But it was.
That's an interesting one, actually, because we need to get into this into another episode. Yeah. But like the fact that there's even that someone had the gall to say to you, can you step back because I can't be seen with you, and we think it's okay. Like it's so degrading.
It
is
honestly.
Do
you know, we're sitting here laughing about it, but it's just like, how dare you say to another person?
It's outrageous.
Or just don't talk to you. Don't talk to them at all. But anyway,
I think for me, like, sorry, go on, DJ.
What I was going to say is like, I mean, the different versions of that happened in our respective relationships.
Absolutely.
Not that it's okay, obviously, but there is even in my own community, there was an understanding. I think because I was younger, exactly. Because even like when you're younger, there's an extent of what you're doing with boyfriends and girlfriends. In West African communities, it's not really a thing. But I guess the difference is with us is that once you're an adult, or once you've ticked off uni, like in your second year, a lot of my female friends on their second year of university, or by the time they were 20, is like, where is he? What's going on? Kind of thing.
See, but I think that taps into. Sorry, because I didn't get to say what my personal.
Because you jumped onto somebody else's point.
Well, I was just trying to help with another point. But I think that, no worries, I got your back. So I think that taps into what I felt was quite a distinct difference culturally, is that in the black community, women are so well respected or seen as they're the ones that have carried the community in some senses, especially coming from Caribbean home for so long, that you can't mistreat, like you can't tell a woman or control her in particular ways. So the freedom to make independent decisions for a woman in the community is like, of course, I can't tell you what to do or what not to do. Whereas like so when I was like just getting to know Zach and just learning about the culture, and he realized, and wait, hold on, you got to be back for 7:30. Like, but your age, so and so is like, wait, 27. Hold on. Like, wait,
what are we doing right now?
But you're a big woman. To me, it was like that was seriously mind blowing. Like, and it was like, but how old? You're 20. Okay, fine. Help me understand. Because I could see that our family dynamics were very different. When I think of my older sister being told, you need to be back for 7:30. Like 7:30, like that's like, for me in our culture, that's like 16. Even earlier. Even earlier. When you're like 12. It's like you need to be home for 7:30. You got dinner, and but the structure of their family, dinner was an important thing. Whereas in our family, dinner is okay. Food's ready. Do you want to eat or not? Are you going to be in or not? It wasn't a 7:30. You need to be home for 7:30. Sunday was the occasion for family dinner. Like everyone goes to granny's, or like, no, it's granny's. In my family, it's granny's. Like 2:00 or after church or between church services. Especially growing up, that was the thing.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah, of course.
I wonder, because in both instances, dinner is important in your community as well as South Asian communities. But maybe is the difference something around like, So basically in our communities, for the women, like the women are cooking, not traditionally speaking.
Yeah.
But when I'm ready, dinner's gonna be ready for you.
Yes.
Whereas in their community is, listen, we need to eat, so you need to come home. And make dinner because I'm ready to eat.
I'm ready to eat. Yeah.
That makes sense. The power is in different places.
It's very different. Yeah.
Right.
It's very different.
But I think so. Really, what you're talking about though is that the Asian community is more communal. And the what you're referring to is more individualistic. So
women though.
So the community is very structured, family orientated. Like the structure is everything, and you need to conform to the structure.
There's no individualistic way of doing things.
There's no independence.
And the interesting thing is, like, you know, if my family was looking at bathrooms, they'd be like, "Oh, we never said for her to be back at Summit," but it's an understood thing.
It's an unspoken rule.
Because your presence is clearly noticed that you're not there, and it's like, oh, that's an anomaly here. What's happened? And the interesting thing is, for me, the cultural differences were that Sam's family wasn't like that. It was a bit like, what? You guys don't eat for dinner, like, and his mum's eating in one. His dad's what is this? Do you guys like each other? Like, what's happened here? So I think that was, for me, was a really just a really weird thing. And just like what others were saying around, you know, the whole idea of this, you know, the cultural thing of when somebody sees you and you kind of have to step back. I think Anna, for me, I don't really feel that guilty about it, because actually it would have been exactly the same if it was an Asian guy. Like, there would have been zero difference whether you were black or whether you were Asian, and it was all about self-preservation. Because trust me,
is that right though? Are you seriously saying that your parents would have reacted the same way if it was a black guy or an Asian guy?
Trust me, 100%, because for them it was just a guy. That is it. So for me, trust
me, you can see Anna's face.
I'm shaking my head behind you.
No, honestly, and it's because I've been seeing.
In support of what you're saying, Zach.
Both. So the consequences were just as bad, because and actually, because I think for my family, they never in a million years thought that me and Sam would ever be together. So actually, if they saw me and Sam together, it would just be like, that probably isn't a very good thing, actually, because what will other people think? But we're not thinking that, because my dad was quite surprised actually that had even happened. So I think that's one thing. So for me, when that had happened, it was like we had many contentions, Sam and I, to a point where I just like, what is wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? Just do as you're told. Like, get to it, because for me, it's about self-preservation, right? I don't want to get trouble when I go home, right? Like, that's just not going to happen. Like, I may be grown 27-year-old person, but I'm scared of my dad. Okay?
See earlier conversation about, so you don't love me, then okay, then why don't you just leave the house? That's what you're going to come over to.
But the worst thing is, for me, I probably wouldn't even be kicked out. I'd be kept in the house. So it was like that's not going to happen. So that was really tough. That was really, really tough for me to kind of deal with.
I'm sorry. All I can imagine is like some little gerbil here. Just I'm in the house.
Honestly, like
it's stressful.
Because I know you as well. You like being out. In a sense,
like to be kept home would have been like, and obviously outside is where the danger is. So of course they're going to restrict you from going outside from where the danger is. So I think for me that was like, those were the there was another one, but I can't remember now. But those are the kind of two that were culturally. But the question I wanted to ask, because obviously now we've all kind of expressed what our cultural differences were. Did that bring anybody here to a crossroads where it questioned the relationship and he thought, this is long? Dead silence.
Okay. Let me jump in on this. Was it wasn't just the one dynamic to say, this is long. I think the inconvenience, because the term "this is long," can be used to express many different things. To say this is long, like you need to leave at 6 o'clock, right, because we're chilling because you need to get back for 7. Is long, but to say, because of that I'm done, like, the this is long statement is something that has followed the journey for so long that it would never encapsulate one moment to just lock off everything. I think I've said this is long on many different occasions, throughout my relationship with you.
I'm sure you still say it.
Trust me. No, but in relation to the cultural differences, I'd say that it's been said less over time because you learn and understand. At the beginning, the differences were shocking to me at the beginning. Like, because you're a woman. In my culture, women are independent and strong. In your culture, women are dependent and accountable. So there were many shocks. So I would say that yes, I faced many cultural challenges that made me question, Sam, are you thinking this through? And I think that they were good questions to ask under reasonable circumstances. But the counterbalance to those questions were who you were. Yeah, and the you know how they say opposites attract. It was the fact that you had differences to me that also made me think, do you know what? I love that. Like and that
really?
That blessed me. Yeah, definitely. Like, because honestly, if the differences were that big, I wouldn't be able to get through it.
Okay.
Like and like the challenges that we went through, based on those differences, because the differences or the gravity of the differences were always made apparent from her side. Like when she came to my side, there was 100% acceptance. She was brought, because our culture is so accepting. I think the black community is the most accepting culture ever. That we will just accept you the way you are. You don't have to conform.
For real.
Yeah, you can be like that, and we're good. Whereas with your side, I have to be a way just to even be acknowledged. And I'm an authentic person, and I don't do well with conforming at all. So when those differences were made, the statement, this is long, I went through that many times, but I wouldn't say that it was enough for me to say, do you know what, I'm out. But the questions forced me to look ahead and say, okay, can I handle?
I think that's the important thing.
Can I handle that?
What about you, DJ?
Man, one thing that's a bit different, I say different. I agree with you. Like, black people in general, like, are just so accepting. I think
100%.
the only caveat I'd say, I think, with mine, and I say mine, but I think it is I don't know. I see this in other cultures too, but like respect is, they'll accept you, but if you show, and it's a bit performative, to be honest, like, uncle, how are you, touch the floor, curtsy, all that stuff. It's performative, but if you do it, you access another level, you're my you're now you're mine now.
Your daughter. Exactly. Really?
They have been like that.
She's such a good girl.
Good girl. Like, it's. Like, you are mine.
She's correct.
Like, you're not just a wonderful. You're mine. I have responsibility over you. That's it. And it's like a one moment thing you can do. It's just jokes.
For real. Especially if you've done it, and like they don't know about the parents don't know about the preparation. So if you've come, or aunties or uncles don't know about the preparation. So if she's done that, and then it's not as if you've told her to do that.
I think that's what my family loved about Zakia.
You're in high esteem amongst the aunties and the uncles. You're in high esteem.
You almost do no wrong. Almost. You're like, you're mine now. That's it. We're done.
They are good like that.
So Nisha experienced that. Anna's experienced that. So, my love. Cultural differences. So I think.
No, did it make you question?
Did it make you question? Yeah. I think resonate with a lot of what Sam was saying. I think there's it's kind of looking ahead, and also there's lots of stuff I could see in Anna where I was like, this is like, I love this. Like, we are similar where it matters. We're different in a way that's really interesting, and it's like lots to learn from and fun actually. And can we? Our thing's gonna be different. Like, there's some the elements that are really tough. Our thing's gonna be different once we're married. Our thing's gonna be different once we're engaged. Because you don't really know.
You don't know.
Because it's 0 to 100, like we talked about before. Like So that point is like, that was the faith part, kind of like. I hope so, boy. She's saying it is.
So I'm interested to come to you now because I don't know. I have a different view to what DJ and Sam said. So I'm interested to see whether there is a gender.
No, I think you're kind of right, because I there were many times I just thought, this is long.
It's not a gender thing.
There were many times where I thought, this is.
But did you want to leave? Because we can all say
it's long. That's what I mean. The term "this is long"
because this is long. This is for me. Like, for me, it was long. I'm not gonna lie.
What? As in you wanted to bounce?
Same.
Like, I was willing to.
Then I think that's the better term. Did I want to bounce?
Did I want to bounce?
This is long.
Of course. There were so many differences in my. And the thing is, when you've grown up in a place where Pakistani community is incredibly insular, and that's all you've really ever known, and the only people that you've known outside of that are people that you go to work with, and or college or uni or any of those things. But once you come into your family, that's it. Yeah, like you're in a cocoon essentially, and everybody outside of that is other, and so they don't have a connection to you in the way that your family does. So suddenly, when somebody comes in that is so different from what you know and understand, yes, there were plenty of times where I just thought, what, like, you know, you just sit in your room and just be like, how do I get out of this exactly? Because it was so, I couldn't see past how do you work through the differences. So for me, definitely, it was like, yeah, no, I think this is too much. And I wasn't just thinking about it for myself. I was thinking about it for my family. Like this is a lot. This is a lot. And so all of that all of that was very, very challenging, but it's testament to who he is. That's all I will say. It's testament to who he is that we became. And not even a relationship, but who he is. I have to give him all the credit, because if it wasn't for the type of person that who he is, we wouldn't be here. That's the truth. Because there were so many.
He's a great guy.
Thank you.
He's a good one.
Because there were so many reasons to say no, but he was the reason to say yes. Him alone, you know, the relationship and all of that thing is what comes a part of it, but it was him.
I think to answer your question, no, there were definitely times I felt like I want to bounce, because it felt super long. I remember I think particularly a time where just before I was gonna propose, and I had to like really think about things like in depth. And not only that, a lot of more of my relatives, like I started having conversations, because that's this is sometimes I think, and I gotta say this, sometimes that the South Asian community don't really understand, like a lot of black folk, as much as a negative, and as also I just gotta say as well, from perspective, like especially a lot of, I would even say both ways actually, forget even caveat and that with Caribbean and African, we're very family orientated, man. Black folk were very, very family orientated. And so, you know, extended family, friends of the family. And I think sometimes, you know, this, I know we mentioned individualism, but
I was talking about dinner specifically.
I know. But particularly but we're very, very family orientated, and the extended family as well has such an importance. So like we're probably at a later point going to talk about godparents, but like I remember even for both, I know his godparents are like super important to him, and pretty much same as me. Like funny enough, one of the key conversations I had pre-marrying Riz, or like, you know, with pre like proposing, was the conversation about with one of my godparents, my auntie who's a judge. And so she's giving me all of the reasons why, like, fam, are you really sure? Like, and I had to really think about it then. I would say, just to kind of even add to that, I think something that's really important to me on a spiritual basis as well is that ability to ask a father for hand in marriage. Like that was something that was really important to me. And in all honesty, I think for both Sam and I, we didn't actually get the opportunity to be able to do that. In fact, I did ask Riz's dad, but that's a conversation.
Sam did ask
I had a good conversation with him.
I mean, the answer was no. But
pretty much, exactly. That's a conversation for another time. And so a part of me felt like, am I going against God's will? Am I disrespecting even my own community and culture? And etc. in terms of the way and the standard in which things should be done. It made me feel really uncomfortable. I'll be honest. To this day, I'll be honest, sometimes I'm like, did I do it right? Yeah. Because like even just seeing recently, obviously everyone knows I'm a big hip hop head, but young Jeezy married his wife. Her name's Jelena Mayer. She's a famous Asian, American Asian lady. And I say Asian as in from the Far East. He was talking about how he asked for her parents, like kind of for hand in marriage and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, it made me feel a type of way, despite the fact that I'd already been married for like a year and a half or over a year. I was like, man, I didn't do that. Yeah. And so that did, before I did think, should I really do this? like in a sense.
Yeah. I think that's normal. Anna, how about you?
So I think that because of the backdrop of the situations we've all gone through and the challenges, I think that the differences become amplified.
Yeah, of course.
And so, I mean, Zach and I were talking about this week. And I remember, funnily enough, when we first got married, I think he was, because we were then, when we started living together when we got married. And particularly in the mornings, he would like slur his words a little bit.
I think I have a bad habit of
There
doing
you go,
that, especially in the morning.
But what I realised is I was feeling quite panicked by that. This difference between us, and it was such a small thing. But I think that it's because you've been given this message throughout the years of you're doing the wrong thing, we're so different, you're not going to have anything in common, everything else, that when you do spot a difference, you go, oh my gosh, everything was right. You know, that's what, and it's not a conscious thought, but it's the feeling. You notice there's a lot more gravity to the feeling. I can confidently say it never made me question the relationship. I never wanted to bounce, as was asked. But I would say that you know, when we talk about going through the experience of you know, being in a Blasian couple, you know, something I always say is you've got to be thick-skinned. You've got to be committed and be willing to go through the ups and downs of it. And I think that's one of them. It's one of those like secret byproducts that you don't really realise, but those differences become really loud because you're already constantly be giving the message on so many different levels that you're doing the wrong thing. But no, but fundamentally I wouldn't say that we did.
Nice. Reza, last but by no means least.
For me, if I'm being completely transparent, yes, I did. There was so many I would say growing up, I didn't really have a role model of what good marriages are. And one of the things I lacked was boundaries. And so I look back at my younger self. I'm still quite young.
You are.
And I wish I did things. I wish we did things differently. I think we wouldn't have gone through certain things if we had done things a lot better, the way God intended to. But yeah, there were quite a few times I did think, and I just thought, this is really hard. Not that ever challenged me to stop, or I would give up. But yeah, and there was so much implications on what it would be with my family. So I had to also lose to gain something.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think that's the thing. And I think that's something that we're going to look into later, is around the hidden costs of it, because the obvious ones are there to see. Look, we had so much more to talk about, but I'm conscious of about time. So I think we're going to have to do a part 2 on this one. So thanks everyone.
Cool.
Stay tuned.
Guys.
Let's have some lunch.
No, we need to kill this fly.
I know.
This fly is annoying.
This fly.
Sounds angry. Is that what?
Get it, Sam.
We're running a podcast.
Don't have it, bro.
Fly around.
It's really irritating me.
No